Hey, so some of you are interested in how I'm actually making these commands, why I determine why some are good, why some are bad, why some aren't needed, and so on and so forth, right? So I thought I would go through a little bit of an explanation, kind of like showing you a bit of the agents that I'm using, that I've added to Daddy Claude and everything like that, the commands, the hooks, the new hooks that I've made. I've actually adjusted everything today, and I would highly suggest for you guys to also update your Daddy Claude. That's going to be very, very important, okay? But let me just go through very, very quickly of how, I'm kind of determining what is good, when I'm choosing these agents and building these agents and the commands and everything like that as well, okay? So we'll start first with we'll actually start with the Claude.md right here, okay? So I'm already here. Now, there's a big important thing that we have to understand, and that is the flow between the Claude.md to our commands, to our agents as well, okay? So you can see I have the agents here from Artisan all the way down to Sherlock, and I'm also referencing those same agents within the Claude.md file right here as well. So you can see I have Bugsy, Sherlock here, all the way down to the opinion agent, which is a fantastic agent, which I've made, by the way. Now, number one, we can see here that the file itself is quite short. So we've only got, what we can see here, 111 lines, okay? But even at 111 lines, not all of these lines are long. Like some of them, are very, very short, only with like 4 words in total. Now, that's important for various reasons. Now, reason number one is obviously going to be context pollution, right? If you are giving too much information to our coding agents, to any large language model, they're going to start making mistakes. And we don't want that. We want them to be really, really reliable in what they're doing. So the shorter and more concise and powerful we can make, our, Claude.md in this case, the more reliable our coding agents are going to be in performing the task correctly, okay? But we can also see here that I'm more focused not necessarily on all these random other things, right? I'm just referencing these are my agents, when to use them, how to use them, what they're for, okay? Using can you remember MCP, okay? Store what you learned, decide, failed, okay? Very, very simple descriptions of what to do and how to utilize, MCPs, agents, and things like that. Down here, we have the single versus parallel agent strategy. Again, very, very simple, right? When to use one agent, okay, because of this, this, and this. When to spawn multiple agents because of this, 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 and this. This is very, very good. This is going to make, our Claude Code more reliable in spawning multiple agents, or maybe only spawning one agent because maybe the task is very, very simple, okay? Very, very important. And then down here, I won't go into everything here because it's, kind of very basic. But yeah, that's how the Claude.md file is working. So I'm looking at how many lines are there, how many words are there in total. Is Claude Code going to reliably be able to follow these guidelines, these rules reliably, okay? Now, after that, we'll go through the hooks very quickly because I did convert all these hooks today as well, okay? Now, for these hooks right here, we have the BAM, which is running the, the QLTY formatting, linting, all these kind of things. And then we also have the play notification, which is just running this done.mp3 right here. Now, what I did today as well, and this is why I would, explain these things as well, okay? So you'll see people like Indie Dev Dan or something like that on YouTube. He actually creates all these hooks in Python. Now, Python as a programming language, don't get me wrong, fine, right? But there's big, big problems with that. Number one, Python in terms of execution, the time, right, is on the slower side, okay? So when we compare, let's say, shell scripts, okay, to Python, shell scripts are going to be loading and running and executing a lot faster than Python scripts would, okay? So I'm not really sure why he's using Python, but this is what I mean. I don't want people to get the wrong idea, like, oh, maybe I should be making Python hooks then instead of shell, okay? Not a good idea. Number two reason why Python is not a good choice is because of the permissions issue. Okay, so depending on your device, depending on your operating system, things like that, it doesn't always seamlessly just run, okay? you have to make sure your permissions are set correctly. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to set everything up, nothing will run, because you might not even know how to adjust your permissions. Okay, that's problem number 2. But what I've done here, I've actually converted the shell scripts which we initially had, okay, which ran fine on Mac and Linux, and I've converted them to Go. Now, there's a very good reason why I did that. I tested this across various different programming languages, including Python, okay, just to let you know. And I tested with Go, I tested with Node.js, I tested with, Python and Shell, which was the original. Go beat them all by a huge margin in terms of execution speed. This means faster post-tool use hooks, pre-tool use hooks, whatever the hooks that you're using, faster. And they're going to be executing a lot faster because the milliseconds is way down, meaning that we're going to save time, even if it's like 200 milliseconds, right? But those 200 milliseconds over the course of 10 different agents adds up very, very fast, okay? So this means slower time. Now, those have already been changed, so this is why I definitely suggest you guys update everything. But the second benefit is that Go, in terms of cross-compatibility across different operating systems, works across all, okay? So Shell was fine for Linux, fine for Mac, and then Windows users had problems, right? That was a problem. So then now I've just converted it over to Go, so you should be fine on Windows, Linux, and Mac, we're all good. Now, in terms of the commands, again, a good one to, that I want to showcase here, okay, is the check command, because this is going to be a command that you're going to be running a lot, okay? You're going to be running this a lot. So, you're making a feature, the feature is done, you run your check, boom, everything is going through, making sure that all your type checking is clear, your linting is clear, warnings, error, build errors, and things like that are all clear. Or, for your Python projects, Go projects, Ruby projects, Rust projects, whatever it may be, right? But it's a very good reason of why I mentioned the flow before from the Claude.md. Again, even in the check.md, okay, the flow is crucial here as well. And we can see it right here. So we see number 1 is we're immediately spawning agents to find and fix all issues. So I'm referencing which agents to utilize for each task, okay? So we have the Murphy agent for configuration dependency issues, Bugsy to fix test failures and runtime errors, Fronty for your front-end issues if it's in React or Next.js, okay? And another Bugsy agent for fixing build and type errors, okay? Now, all of this is going to be run in parallel, not sequentially. So it's not one agent and then running another agent after that one is done, then when that one is done, running another one. This is just all running at once. But they all are given specific tasks on what to work on. So they're not conflicting with each other, working on the same things together. One is working over here, one is working here, one is working over here. They're all working together, but in different departments, okay? So this is why it's very, very important. And then we have, the validation as well, and then success criteria. So everything must pass before it's finished. It can't just say, oh, I think it's all done, it's all good, we're good for the day. No, it has to complete everything until we are clear. Now, this is a very good example, and this is what I mean about commands that I see. And the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of commands that I'm seeing, like online, they're not even utilizing agents in parallel effectively or correctly. And this is a big problem. And this is just making our life a lot harder, because this is the power of agentic terminal coding, especially with Claude Code, is that we can do that running several agents in parallel. This means, a 10-minute task takes 1 minute all of a sudden. A 5-minute task takes 30 seconds. So it's a lot quicker, making us work a lot more efficiently as well. But one big one, which I've just come up with today as well, is we got plan.md. Not a big deal on this one, but this one right here, get opinion. This one here is phenomenal, okay? For a range of things, it's not specifically like for the check command previously, which is more for, fixing issues, right? The get opinion is fantastic for literally anything. Let's just say, for example, you thought of a new feature, Okay, maybe you haven't even thought about that feature yet, and you're kind of like brainstorming, trying to think about it. So with this command right here, what we can do is we can essentially go over here and we can just put in get. Okay, and if we press tab, we can now add in arguments. Okay, so these are the arguments right here. Now, what we can do here is literally get opinions from several different agents in parallel, which then have their responses synthesized, and then we're given that final response, of determining the kind of approach we should take for fixing things, or maybe for optimization strategies, or maybe for developing and building out new features, or the best approach for it, or even just like me before when I was going through the hooks, right? And I was thinking, okay, we need to make Go, Python, shell scripts, Node.js, whatever it may be, right? And we need to make all these hooks and then run all of these, at once to see the performance, the best performance. This is what I ran it through, okay? This is what I've been running it through the get opinion command. Now, the get opinion is then going to be utilizing the opinion.md agent right here, okay? So this is not even about coding. This is not actually actively coding anything, okay? This is actually just giving an opinion, and it's then scoring, okay? And then we have a scoring scale as well. So then the quick output format gives a score, the verdict, the strengths, critical issues, recommendation, and the confidence as well, okay? So this is really, really powerful, because then we can just say, what is the best approach for making a feature like X and Y, okay? Something like that. Now, when we're thinking about a feature or a different approach or something like that, rather than us only utilizing Claude Code and just going back and forth with one agent, now we use 5 or maybe even up to 10 agents at once in parallel, and having all their responses synthesized so we get the actual ultimate response back. Very, very powerful command, okay? Now, these kind of commands, again, you won't see them out there. This is kind of an exploration, a thing that I experimented with a lot during my, vibe coding and things like that with Claude Code, but extremely, extremely powerful stuff, okay? Then we also have a new agent that I've made today as well, which is a scribe. This is very basic. So this is just going to be creating documentation, but large language model optimized documentation, okay? Not documentation for us to read. Instead, it's documentation for Claude Code to read, okay? That's a very important thing to understand here as well. When we're creating a lot of this documentation, sure, maybe we are reading some things, right? But a lot of the documentation is not for us to read. It's for Claude Code to read, for Claude Code to use as context engineering, okay? So we want to ensure that the documentation that's being created is also optimized for large language models. So that's exactly what's happening here. However, at the bottom, I've also created a human README files, which creates the readme.md, and I like my readme.md to be in a specific format, a lot less robotic and AI sounding, because I want people to think I wrote it, all right? So that's kind of what's going on here as well. Now we also have the artisan agent. The artisan agent here is the coding agent. So there are a lot of rules that we have to have, right, for coding agents. And I thought, okay, normally you use all your rules in your Claude.md. Sure, that's fine as well. But then I thought, you know what? That's not really the best approach for it. I think the better approach would be to just create a standalone coding agent, okay? So rather than just your normal Claude Code going in and coding and creating files and editing files, updating files and doing all that stuff, now Artisan Agent is the one who does that. So Artisan Agent is the one who's going in and coding and doing this, and that. And this is more specific with, language-specific best practices, pre-code checklists, the mandatory testing and verification, okay? So this is why, it's kind of perfect to be utilized as a sub-agent, because, again, at the bottom here, never declare done without, code actually runs without errors, because I hate when it goes and makes something, oh, everything is fine, everything is beautifully done and it's amazing, and you go to test it and nothing even works because modules aren't found and things like that. This is going to be ensuring that when it, you know, builds something, it's also testing and making sure everything runs. Okay, so very, very important little agent right there. Then we have, what else do we have here? I actually did make a status line, which we can see right here as well. Okay, so I built this one here in Go. This should actually be displaying, but let me just see what's going on here. I actually haven't tested this on my Mac yet. Let's just see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything here. Go in here, status line Go, that's in there as well. That's strange. Or maybe I actually have to set it up first. I'll have to have a look in a sec. Not a big deal. It's essentially a status line from a new update from Claude Code, where we could see some more information here. So I'll look into that in a sec as well, but it's not a game-breaking kind of thing or anything, to be honest with you. But it's kind of a good little feature, information for us to see, you know, perhaps things like the costs and the model that we're using. But, you know, like I said as well, it's not really a big deal. But the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of the commands that I'm seeing, you guys are looking at things like Super Claude and you know, there are various different ones that I've seen out there as well. And to be honest with you, when I go in and I look at them, and I've personally downloaded them, I've personally tested them, I've personally used them, and I'm never impressed. That's the problem, right? Because and then I go in and I look at all these commands and everything, I'm like, nah, you know, like, sure, don't get me wrong, some of the commands can be great, but they need a lot of work to bring them up to speed. This is kind of what I'm trying to do here. Not to say like this is the best in the world setup. This is always an ongoing refinement, right, kind of process. We're not just building this and, oh, that's it for the rest of our life, right? It's the best setup. No, as you guys know, I've already updated, you know, Daddy Claude in itself dozens of times, right? A lot of times you guys don't even see it as well, but behind the scenes, I'm updating this stuff a lot, even if I don't mention it all the time. But we can see here, it's essentially built for broad use cases. So we don't have specific, you know, agents for specific projects, for specific programming language necessary. This is more broadly used across all your projects, across all different types of programming languages, not specific to, you know, a certain type. Okay, and I think that's very, very important, because we want to be utilizing, you know, like a setup, a configuration that we can use across different programming languages and different projects, you know, rather than having to set up everything again for a different bloody project. You know, it just takes too much time. So I hope that kind of helps you out as well. Okay, it's, yeah, a little bit of a rambling on kind of video, but I hope there was something that you can take away from that anyway. And I hope to see you on the call tomorrow night. Well, it'll be tomorrow morning for most of you. And we should have a big chat about some things. We'll have Go High Level with Aaron as well. And that should be really fun. So I'll see you there.